I stumbled upon a new startup real estate association to compete with the National Association of Realtors, and it's called the American Real Estate Association. And they are the association built for the future of real estate, advocating, innovating, and educating. And I've seen this brought up, namely on forums where people are trash talking NAR, which is a recurring topic. And then someone will post this and say that they're a potential future alternative for NAR. Now, they're not operational yet, but they are selling memberships. And the memberships, it appears, are to fund the build out of this organization. So there are two tiers. $20 will get you a membership for 2024, 2025, and a discount on 2026. And then they have founding member for $1,500, which gets you 10 years of membership dues, okay? So what is the value proposition? All right, well, they declare they're a new trade organization, and they are so American Real Estate Association is a new trade association built for real estate agents by real estate agents. They'll act nationally, think locally. They'll work to educate policymakers and the public on issues that matter most. Now, I have to stop this right there and say that if you're taking on, so you're a startup, right? You're entering the arena to compete with whoever's existing. In this case, it's NAR. They've monopolized the trade association segment of real estate agency. So that's who you're taking on. Are you going to outcompete NAR on this? That's highly questionable. NAR spent around $53 million in 2023 on lobbying efforts. Okay, NAR does a tremendous amount of educating the public and policy makers. Think about this, okay? Realtor is a term, it's a made-up term for the National Association of Realtors. That's their term. That's their trademarked term for real estate agents. No NAR, no realtor. If you're not a realtor member of NAR, then you're just a real estate agent. So when everyone says the word realtor, it's because they've been conditioned by being the public being educated by NAR. Are you going to spend more than $53 million on lobbying policymakers? Think about this. Another example of how powerful NAR is with policymakers. NAR, part of the NAR settlement was that buyer's agents had to have a representation agreement. That gave independent agents, non-realtors, an advantage. They didn't have to ask that of their client. The California Association of Realtors co-sponsored a bill, found some assemblywoman in this case, to draft the bill. It was co-sponsored by California Association of Realtors in conjunction with Zillow, and it got signed into law requiring all real estate licensees in California to have a representation agreement. CAR, the California Association, which is just a branch of the National Association, was able to put together a bill in very, very little time to level the field and take away the advantage that independent agents had over realtors. I'm just telling you that to take that on, the magnitude of that, I could make a whole other video on it, but that is a virtual impossibility in my opinion. Next is a national MLS. Okay, there already is a national MLS. I don't know why. I mean, for some reason, people talk about it like it's not there. Okay, National Listing Service will accelerate innovation. Okay, so they're referencing an NLS, National Listing Service. Okay, and that they're saying that it'll be available. Okay, it's talked about. There's finally will make it a reality. It is a reality. I mean, it already exists. There's already a national. There's my state is a national MLS, but the MLS, as someone that's spent a great deal of time thinking about this and knowing people in the industry, it's a more complex conversation that I could do a whole separate video on. That would probably be very boring, but I could talk about why MLSs are fragmented, why there is already a national MLS, why it doesn't get adopted as fast as it should in theory. I could go on, but this doesn't bring something new. Not trying to be critical. I support anyone doing a startup. I really am a business optimist, and I'm very supportive of people that go out on endeavors. No one asks these people to do this. They're just doing it on their own volition because they think somehow there's an opportunity there. So good for them. But I am going to be critical because whereas maybe a decade ago, I would have thought this is a great idea. My mind has changed, and it's changed even more radically after seeing what happened to Sitzer Burnett. I mean, just think about this. NAR, as powerful as they are, lost that Sitzer Burnett case. They lost, and they would have been bankrupted by losing had they not entered into a settlement, that $400 million settlement. So I'm just saying that what they're taking on, is there are many weaknesses in the model that's being taken on, and that model is dominated by a very, very powerful organization. Now, education, okay. Education is highly subjective. What are you educating people on? How to use your own tools? So again, I'm highly critical of the Association of Realtors, but credit where it's due. They offer an immense amount of education on the national, state, and local level. It's unbelievable how much ground coverage the Association of Realtors has, because they've built out this model where they have this centralized national. It's very much like how the United States is. It's the same idea where you have a federal government, but then you have state governments and then you have local governments. NAR has implemented this policy in a different way, where you have a state association, then a local association, all answering to a national association. So it allows them to become more immersed in every local community. Now, that model is dated in the trade association realm, but what that also offers is the ability to disseminate massive amounts of education. Now, what I don't like about NAR or state associations or even local ones is how they charge you for everything. I mean, there are a few freebies here and there, but largely they create all these new forms, new this, new that, and then they charge people. When you're at the local association, they charge you. You want to buy a form, you get a discount. You want to sign up for a class, they're charging you. You might get a discount, but they're charging you. I don't like that at all. But I mean, education, I mean, great. There's just such an abundance of education. The question for this entity is, will people voluntarily pay for it if they don't have to? Will they see value enough to pay for it? Because the answer I get from many agents when it comes to the whole NAR matrix is that if NAR wasn't a gatekeeper, and when I say NAR, I'm encompassing state and local associations, because it all goes upstream to the same entity. But if the whole realtor matrix, if it wasn't the gatekeeper to certain tools like professional forms, MLS access, etc., would agents join? And a significant portion would not. They only join because the Association of Realtors acts as a gatekeeper to those resources. So are they able to offer something that the Association of Realtors that's different? I mean, here's probably my biggest critique, because this is all fine and dandy what they're offering. You want to offer another national MLS. You want to get into public policy with lawmakers or educating the public. I mean, fine, but and I think I wish these people well, but I just think that what you're taking on is just a virtual impossibility. I could talk ad nauseum about it. But there's another problem that's different, and this is more of just an agent-centric perspective, and that is the problem with NAR, the problem that became very apparent with the settlement and the new policy implemented by NAR, and now the DOJ looking at NAR or looking at the settlement terms, is that it's not that agents that are unhappy with new policy set by NAR need an alternative NAR. What we've learned is that the problem is centralization. The problem is when there's a single repository or hub like the Association of Realtors, there's a giant bullseye on their back. And that's what happened with this lawsuit and all the copycat lawsuits. If they want one place to lodge a lawsuit and get something out of it, a settlement, deep pockets that they can shake the tree and something will come out, NAR is a perfect representation of that. They're a bullseye that allows opportunistic sharks to come after them and shake them down because they're this single entity. But the solution for agents has been, you can just sidestep it, be independent. I've said this so many times on these settlement videos where we're talking about the policy changes from the settlement. And that is, if you don't like it, you don't have to be a realtor. All your problems with this NAR settlement and the listing agent charging a commission, sharing it to the buyer's agent, that whole thing, that's only for realtors. If you want to opt out of it, you can disconnect from the realtor matrix and you're not subject to the terms of the settlement. And now in this era where there's a huge bullseye on NAR's back, and there forever will be, because everyone will channel all of their ire aimed toward all of the real estate agent or industry collectively onto the back of NAR and the biggest real estate companies because they have the biggest pockets. Now you have this company here that's raising their hand saying that they're going to join that fold. Okay, I mean, fine. But to me, just looking at this from the real estate broker perspective, we don't need alternatives. We need decentralization. We need open source form libraries. We need ways for people to opt out and carry out real estate transactions in a very smooth manner. Okay, I'm going to stop here so I don't ramble on. But that is my opinion on a startup real estate association. I'm an advocate of opting out of the association matrix in general. We don't need two of the same problem. We need the ability to opt out and open source or available tools for agents that want to disconnect from the association matrix. Thank you for watching.